everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is my Forbes colleague, staff writer Zach Everson. Zach, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me back to talk about more Bitcoin.
More Bitcoin, and you're reporting on how exactly Trump Media and Technology Group is placing a multi-billion-dollar bet on Bitcoin. Talk to us about it.
So in an SEC filing on Tuesday, Trump Media and Technology Group, best known as the parent company of Truth Social, the social media platform, disclosed that it was having a private sale to 50 institutional investors where it was going to sell about $1.5 billion worth of stock and another $1 billion worth of bonds. It was then going to take that money and use it to buy Bitcoin, where it would have a Bitcoin reserve. So they're looking at somewhere over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin.
So explain this let's pretend this is crypto for dummies here. What is exactly a corporate Bitcoin reserve?
So they're just going to have this and sit on it. I mean, it is kind of a hedge that the money that they will make by holding this Bitcoin will do better than what it's going to cost them to put out the stock, to put out these convertible bonds. So that's kind of the thought behind it, and that Bitcoin will appreciate and that they will continue to do well by that. It's a strategy that is very similar to what MicroStrategy is run. Michael Saylor is behind that one. Forbes has profiled him at length, but that is largely what he's done to get his business. And it's worked out well for him. So it looks like the Trumps are trying their hand at that now too.
And so as you're saying, they're following in his footsteps right there. But is this strategy more of a trend that we're now seeing, or is it more of an outlier?
You know, that's a great question. I haven't seen a lot of other instances on that. I mean, most of my beat is money and politics as opposed to crypto. When I did talk to people, though, the name they immediately brought up was Michael Saylor. Nobody else was mentioned. It just seemed like it was largely reflecting his view. But I would have to imagine, it's worked out really well for him. And it's quite public that it's worked out really well for him, so it wouldn't surprise me at all to find other firms doing something similar.
And so when you were going through this SEC filing, what else did you find out? Did anything else stick out to you?
Yeah, the other thing that struck out was that a financial advisor on the deal was Secretary of Commerce's Howard Lutnick's old firm, Cantor Fitzgerald, that they advised on the deal. Now, Lutnick divested his stake in the company, but it's his children who got it. So, they were in business there with the president's company.
As you were saying, this is a $2.5 billion bet on Bitcoin. What has Trump Media said on their view of crypto? You quoted in your piece CEO Devin Nunes. What was he saying?
So he said they view it as an apex instrument of financial freedom. It's America first, and it's going to protect against harassment, discrimination by financial institutions. It's another example of a Trump business, despite being owned by, the majority owner being the president of the United States, kind of coming out swinging as if it's the underdog here. So this is, they're largely viewing it as a hedge in case there are, other problems with financial institutions. So they're clearly bullish on this. And they've also, it marks part of a pivot that we've seen going on. Originally, it was just Truth Social. Then they added the Truth Plus streaming platform before recently announcing that they were going to get into financial instruments as well. So this buying this Bitcoin reserve seems to, kind of tie into that new third pillar that it's launched.
And what exactly did the crypto announcement do to the share price of DJT? Is everyone excited and feeling bullish about this Bitcoin reserve?
Clearly, no. The price has gone down. So there was a report in the Financial Times a few days prior to the SEC filing that this was going to happen. So it had pretty much been, would have been priced in by the time the announcement was there. But the stock is below what it was trading beforehand, and it is also below what the private investors would have, or the institutional investors would have paid for it through the private sale. There they were paying $25.72, and last I checked, it's trading in like the 22s, 23s.
And corporate Bitcoin reserve is very similar to language found in a March executive order signed by President Trump himself. You pointed this out in your reporting, but I want to talk about it. This was an action, quote, to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a U.S. digital asset stockpile, positioning the United States as a leader among nations in government digital asset strategy. Talk to us a little bit about the resemblance here.
Yeah, so it's very much the same thing where you have Trump media is amassing a stockpile of Bitcoin for strategic reasons, and you have the US government is going to amass a stockpile of Bitcoin for strategic reasons. What's very interesting was that, it appears Trump media went first. So they bought their Bitcoin before you're going to see the government spend a lot of money on Bitcoin, which would most likely cause the price to go up. So it looks like the Trump media got into the game a little bit beforehand. So, interesting timing.
Interesting timing, happy accident, or cause for concern? I mean, what are experts in the industry saying? I mean, what ethical concerns are there here?
The same as everything else that's been going on with Trump for his first term and into his second. That, is he making policy that's in the best interest of the American public? Is he doing it to help himself profit? I mean, as we remember, this is a 180 from where he stood on cryptocurrency previously, where he thought it was worthless. Now he's certainly figured out how to make some money for it for himself, and he's found that it actually is a good thing. Maybe we should push this out there. So it's one of the things the American people don't know, if he's acting in what he thinks is the best interest of the country, or if he thinks what's in the best interest for his own company, or maybe both. So it's we've never seen a president like this before.
And as you noted, and as we've talked about at length, President Trump, term one, was a crypto skeptic. Now, term two, he's a crypto enthusiast. And on Wednesday, Vice President J.D. Vance himself was speaking at a Bitcoin 2025 conference. He was talking about the future of crypto, and he said he is very optimistic about that future. Don Jr. and Eric Trump are also supposed to be speaking at that conference. And you and I have talked about the Trump family's foray into the crypto space. What does their escalating action when it comes to crypto indicate to you?
They've done well by it, between the NFTs they put out, between the Trump meme coin, between this, getting in the World Liberty Financial, the decentralized finance outlet that they started. You've got Trump Social going into Bitcoin. It's a very interesting change from the beginning of Donald Trump's career, where he started out in real estate, tangible products. You see a building, there's Trump Tower, it exists, you can go in it. And then it kind of went to marketing, which not as tangible, but you still see the Trump name blasted all over the place. You have a TV show to watch. Whereas now what he's working at is invisible. It's not real. I mean, a lot of crypto enthusiasts will certainly contest that, but there is no tangible product that you're giving him money in exchange for something that's digital. It doesn't cost much at all to create what he's selling, and they found a good way of making money off this. We've seen that Don Jr. and Eric have jumped into this with some of their ventures. So it's when he says he is going to become the first the crypto president, he is also taking advantage of that from his own business perspective.
And to that point, President Trump said the first thing back in 2019. He said crypto's not real. He said the value is based on thin air. Now he's touting himself, as you said, as the first crypto president. A White House spokesperson reportedly said this, that President Trump is dedicated to making America the crypto capital of the world and revolutionizing our digital financial technology. So is Trump media, because of what they're doing with that Bitcoin reserve, are they financially benefiting from policies set forth by President Trump?
I mean, it certainly seems like that's what they're set up to do. We won't know for sure until we get some of their next, until we get their next quarterly filing, or until the government actually does start stockpiling this reserve. To the best of my knowledge, they haven't. I've been watching some of the live stream from Bitcoin 2025, and some of the Bitcoin supporters out there have been expressing frustration that they mentioned this reserve, but they haven't taken any steps towards it. So verdict is still out. I mean, it's possible Bitcoin could end up being worthless, and then it wouldn't work out all that well for the company.
And so as we're talking right now, we're talking about the intersection of Trump media and how it's going into the crypto space. How have these two industries really impacted President Trump's bottom line?
Oh, he's done very well by them. Very well. Especially you throw in True Social, that we've seen his net worth has just shot up in the last year or so, and is largely fueled by the stock that he has in True Social, and as well as his crypto ventures. So those are been huge money makers for him personally.
Well, Zach, I always appreciate our conversations. Until next time.
My pleasure. Off to go buy some Bitcoin right now.